got anxious. I was like, huh, I'll hop in.
You just really wanted to come in hot with the
I'm like, hi, I'm Taylor.
Oh my goodness. All right, people of the internet, we're back with some educational things for you.
All of which includes some alien stuff, but you know, educational nonetheless.
Yes, we've got history, we've got mystery. It's gonna be super fun. I'm one of your hosts for this one, Bree Room.
And I'm Taylor McWaters.
Let's get into it.
Let's do it. Here are the top 10 monuments that have no origin. Huh. Let's discover some stuff. Kicking off the list at number 10, the Yonaguni Monument. Atlantis, is that you? The Yonaguni Monument is quite fascinating, and it's not as well known as the others on this list, like Stonehenge, but check this out. We'll kick it off with this. Right off of Japan's Ryukyu Islands, divers found these mysterious pyramid-like rock formations. It's quite fresh also in terms of natural wonders of the world. This was discovered as recent as 1987. Just 25 meters below the surface of the Pacific lies this formation of perfectly cut rocks. Perfectly, like, It's 50 meters long and 20 meters wide. It's a city. Technically, it's a city. It's small, but it's definitely a city. Besides its natural beauty, we're starting to wonder if this was really man-made because there's stairs. There's a little hallway as well. It's now nicknamed Japan's Atlantis. It's roughly 10,000 years old, and many believe it's the remains of an ancient Pacific civilization from around 12,000 BC, so it's pretty old. Divers that have gotten an up-close look at the Yonaguni Monument say that it looks man-made. Like Google, you're kind of looking, you're like, okay, it's kind of a rock. In person, you're like, that's definitely a staircase. I gotta agree, the 90-degree turns, the steps, this looks like Atlantis, really. A really tiny Atlantis.
At number 9, Stonehenge. This Neolithic monument is one of the most well-known prehistoric sites and a very popular tourist attraction. Though people are thoroughly fascinated with the monument, not much is known about its origin or the purpose that it served to those who built it. There are a number of theories that could explain the purpose of Stonehenge depending on who you ask, but there are 3 main theories that researchers are really working with. One theory is that it was a sacred burial ground, another theory is that it was a site for celestial alignment, or perhaps that it was a place of healing. There is evidence to back up these stories, but then again, no solid answer has been uncovered. The other mystery surrounding this is how on earth did Neolithic people manage to construct something so large with simple tools? The construction of Stonehenge by ancient humans went in 2 stages. The first monument was an early henge monument built around 5,000 years ago, and the second stage, the unique stone circle around it, was built in 2500 BCE in the late Neolithic period. It is theorized that the stones from the site were transported from elsewhere about 32 kilometers away, and it was brought to the site where it was shaped using sarsen and flint hammerstones. Then the large stones would be put into pre-excavated holes and then hoisted up using plant fiber ropes and wooden pillars. This would have taken a huge amount of work, so researchers still aren't entirely sure how this all came together. It all remains one big mystery that hopefully gets solved soon.
Number 8, the works of old men. And I mean really old. If you're into crop circles, this is going to blow your mind. Located in Jordan's Azraq oasis lies these massive geometric shapes, dating even older than the Nazca Lines in Peru, but we'll save that for later on. The structures are very much man-made, there's no question this time around. There are hundreds of these wheel-like structures that are over 80 feet wide, some even as large as 200 feet. These huge structures have been dated back so far that they might be the oldest man-made creations that we have ever found. They go back to 8,500 years ago, but how did they make this? Well, there's wheels with spokes, there's kites, there's pendants, and the most bizarre thing about the works of old men is that it spans so far across the Arabia region, from Syria through Jordan, then Saudi Arabia, and then to Yemen, so it was only fair that a pilot discovered these works of art form from the skies. That's right, a British pilot was flying over this area in 1927 and realized something was up.
At number 7, Gobekli Tepe. This monument is not only mysterious because we don't know much about its origins, but it also caused quite a headache for researchers because it completely rewrote the timeline of the Neolithic era. The Neolithic era was the final period of the Stone Age, where early humans began the process of domestication of animals and agriculture. For years, researchers believed that this era is what brought people towards the process of holding rituals and creating monuments to their beliefs. However, upon discovering Gobekli Tepe, that entire idea was rewritten as the mysterious site suggested that it was the work of early hunter-gatherers that made this temple a ritualistic center. This would have happened far before these individuals decided to create settlements and begin the agricultural revolution based on the timeline of human settlements and such. Based on the evidence found at this site, that mind you is 6,000 some odd years older than Stonehenge, groups of hunter-gatherers came to this site in Urfa, Turkey around 11,500 years ago and carved out this ritualistic site out of the limestone that covered the area. It is believed that Gobekli Tepe was just designed as a stopping point for these early humans. It was a place to meet, hold feasts, and then leave again. Soon enough though, the desire to regularly hold these gatherings prompted the early humans to domesticate plants and animals to have a more dependable food source. So with this in mind, it is believed that these rituals are what gave way to the agricultural revolution, not the other way around. But even after all of this, there are so many unanswered questions like why hunter-gatherers decided to do this in the first place. As of now, Gobekli Tepe doesn't really have an origin story.
Number 6. The Maree Man. Also referred to as Stewart's Giant, the Maree Man is a modern geoglyph that was first discovered in 1998. It is located in southern Australia and it's one of the largest geoglyphs in the world. It appears to represent an indigenous Australian man hunting, and origins aside, this is a work of art and it's massive. It's jaw-dropping enough, and then you start to ask questions about where it came from and who created it. A mystery is afoot, people. No one knows, really. In June 1998, a charter pilot, again a pilot with eyes in the sky, was the first to spot it, and based on satellite images from NASA, it must have been created sometime between May 27th and June 12th of that year. Not that big of a window at all. Of course, it's absolutely huge. It comes in at around 2.7 kilometers tall with a perimeter of 28 kilometers. Through natural erosion of the land, the creation started to disappear, but in 2016 work began in order to redefine the lines in order to preserve the geoglyph, because obviously we want to keep this thing around. It's fantastic. The craziest part about this massive geoglyph is how fast it was created, like I said. The image on the left here is from May 17th, 1998, and the image on the right is June 12th, also 1998. Not even a month apart, and this was done. It was complete. We can't even get potholes fixed in our city over 3 years, and some mystery team is running around Australia drawing selfies. That's amazing. We need answers. Today we believe that this landmark was built with some sort of GPS aid, but back then this was a lot harder than you already think in your head right now. Again, like I said earlier, my vote is aliens, but you guys already know that one. Comment down below who you think made this. One giant dude with an Etch-a-Sketch, or like, you know, aliens.
At number 5, Carnac. The impressively large collection of megalithic stones that cover the area of Carnac in France have been boggling the minds of researchers for years. Also sometimes referred to as France's Stonehenge, this site contains a collection of 3,000 stones which were cut from the same rock and put in place by pre-Celtic people somewhere between 3300 and 4500 BCE. What confused a lot of researchers was the fact that even though these stones show alignments, dolmens, and other examples of ancient geography consistent with other sites, they really shouldn't have existed in that time period in which they were constructed. Scientists have been trying to decode the arrangement of stones for years, trying to figure out what it all means, but they're unsure of what they really stood for. They're there and arranged in that way for a reason, but what that reason is still remains a mystery.
Number 4. Machu Picchu. Currently a wonder of the modern world, Machu Picchu was built over 500 years ago. It was first discovered in 1911 by archaeologist Hiram Bingham when he and a small team were originally heading out to find the ancient city of Vilcabamba, but during their commute from Cuzco, they found this landmark instead, and I bet they were pretty jazzed about that. Sitting at 2,430 meters above sea level, Machu Picchu is a 15th century Inca citadel built from thousands of stones, each weighing over 50 tons, and with Machu Picchu translating to Old Mountain, this seems like an impossible task. How did they build this without the help of true animal power? I'll get to that later, but they had one animal and you wouldn't expect what it was. They didn't even have advanced tools or even wheels. I can't carry a couch up a staircase, and these guys designed a perfect city with their hands. Okay, sure. I mean, after 500 years of foul weather and earthquakes, nothing has destroyed this ancient city. These stones also fit together perfectly, and we believe it's because the Incas literally pounded the rocks into shape. The only animal that we think helped build this ancient city were llamas, which is just a hilarious thing to imagine in your head. These stones are 50 tons, and a llama's like, no sweat, I'll do it in one trip. Just throw it on my back.
At number 3, Easter Island. Easter Island holds a lot of secrets and mystery. There seems to be a lot of unanswered questions when it comes to this island, like what happened to all the trees, and how do people get there? Most importantly though, what the heck is up with those big heads? You know the big heads I'm talking about. The statues that can be found scattered on the island. Though these large statues are famous, they also have scientists confused because they don't know why they're there. Researchers have a few theories. Some believe that the statues represented tribal ancestors, and others believe that perhaps these statues served as landmarkers for the people who lived on the island so that it made it easier for them to find vital resources. What adds to the mystery of the stone statues is how they were placed. It is believed that these statues were carved from the same piece of stone from the island's quarry, and they were moved using logs, but the only problem furthering this hypothesis is the fact that there are no trees left on the island, and no one really knows where they went either. So we can't really test that log theory. Easter Island is an entire Scooby-Doo trope, and I don't even think that the Scooby Gang could solve this one.
Number 2, the Pyramids of Egypt. Built over 4,500 years ago, the Pyramids of Giza are these massive tombs where ancient pharaohs and queens were laid to rest. And Tesla CEO Elon Musk is pretty sure they were built by aliens. So now there's a great amount of people that also will think that, all because of one tweet. That's how it works, just like that. Around 15 million visitors get an up-close look at these beautiful structures once a year, and for a long time, we've speculated just how these massive tombs were actually built. Until the early 20th century, the pyramids built for the pharaoh Khufu was the largest building on the planet. Made out of 6.5 million tons of stone, the 3 largest pyramids of Giza also have a deep connection to the cosmos, adding more mystery to the pyramids' true origins. The stars of the constellation Orion were originally associated with Osiris, the ancient Egyptian god of rebirth and afterlife. Another huge theory is that an advanced race of aliens came to Earth with future tech, and that's how they were able to build the pyramids. Again, that's a theory from a guy who launches cars into space for fun, so take it with a grain of salt.
And finally, in at number 1, the Nazca Lines. One of the most fascinating monuments in the world, at least in my opinion, are the Nazca Lines. These geoglyphs located in Peru are a collection of depictions of creatures both from the natural world as well as human imagination that were etched into the ground and have been there for thousands of years. There are apparently thousands of these geoglyphs scattered across the terrain, but no one really knows why. There are a couple theories regarding their existence, like for example, they might have been designed to represent constellations, or perhaps they had something to do with gods or even water, since the Nazca people were known for their innovative techniques regarding irrigation. These glyphs have no origin, but I kind of like that they're just there with no explanation, because it kind of just adds to the overall mystery.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Those were just 10 monuments that have no origins, or maybe they were built by aliens. I don't know, a couple of those were...
pretty sure they're all built by aliens.
Like the Nazca Lines, come on, that's like that's doodling for aliens. Basically.
Exactly, yep, you know, art class for aliens.
That's it. What do you guys think? Any origins that we've missed? Let us know in the comments down below, and we'll throw them in our part 2.
Yeah.
I've been your host, Taylor McWaters.
And I've been your other host, Bree Room. Bye.
Bye.
So we can test the
I'll spit on your face.
Your groove got a lot more interesting with that one.
That's literally what I thought of. I was like, oh my god.
You threw off my groove.
Shaggy would be too stoned. He's good.
Alright. But I kind of like that they're kind of just there because I can't read today. I love that for me. Awesome.
It's a long weekend. We're trying to do.
Boom.
Intro, outro, baby.
Improv, outro, bang, bang.
Boom.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Those were 10, what are those monuments that have no origins?
Yeah.